Hello! Welcome to part 2 of my emote set tutorial. I'm excited and I'm finally done editing this video for you all, and so I hope you find it helpful. I'm going to keep the intro short so we can get started. Also, did you notice that I got a new mic? Anyways, I think it sounds a lot better than my old one. I'm not too sure, but if you've watched my other videos, let me know if there's a difference. So the first thing you do after all your sketches and everything is you pick one, Russian roulette style, figure out which one you want to outline first. I typically go with the more difficult ones because those take me a lot longer. And so I'll copy that sketch over to a new canvas. I'll leave the dimensions below in the caption so you can just use it as a reference point. But what I'll do is I'll put it on its own canvas, create a new layer on top, and then I will start lining my art with a dark brown color using my outline brush, which I believe it's the anime brush that I use to outline. The size of the brush I use is usually around 2 to 3 pixels depending on which area of the emote I'm drawing. So if I'm outlining the outside of the emote, then I'll use 3 pixels because it's a thicker line, or if there's any area that I want to emphasize more, then I'll use 3. But if it's, for example, like the inner parts of the hair, then I'll probably go between 1 and 2 pixels for the brush size, just because that's not as important, or it's something I don't really think is noticeable if people look at it from afar. You can always figure it out by zooming out and seeing which parts need to stand out more and just touching up those parts once you've kind of identified where you need to make more obvious when it's tiny. I hope that makes sense. Let's go on to base color. So how I make sure that I have the same colors every time is this color palette. Procreate is great because you can just create as many color palettes as you want, and then if you pick a color and you click on a blank square in your palette, it saves that color. I highly suggest you save it in your palette so you don't have to go back and forth to look for those colors. For base color as well, I use the monoline brush to outline and then color drop, because color dropping is just a lifesaver, so much faster than to just color it with your own brush. So let me share some other tips. If you ever forget to save your color that you're using in your emote, you can go back to the layer that has the color you're looking for, change the opacity to 100 maybe, and then you can press and hold on the screen in the area that has the color you want. Doing that tells Procreate that you want to use the color picker, so it'll pick the color for you. And so even if you forget to save it in your color palette, it is not the end of the world. When you're doing line art, sometimes you don't get it the way you want the first time around, and that's okay. Like in this particular one, I think I struggled. I wasn't happy with my first run through, so I ended up redoing it, and it could be because of a lot of reasons. Like in the first time I did it, I couldn't see the hands and I didn't like it too much, and you realize there might be other parts that you want to emphasize, and so that's why I always zoom out and see which parts I want included and which parts need to be fixed. And it's okay if it takes a couple tries. I hope I covered everything in terms of what I do for line art and base colors. If you have anything that you want me to cover or just any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments below. I hope watching me speedrunning through my art kind of helps you see the process that I take when I am coloring and lining my emote. Just know that I'm actually not that quick, and I think I sped these clips up by like 1,000 to 2,000%. So don't feel like I'm so fast. I'm not. It takes me sometimes 1 to 2 hours per emote, and that's totally okay. Sometimes it might take me even more if I'm redoing the line art, so you got this. So let's repeat the process for another emote, starting with the line art again. I usually start with outlining the hair first because I find that that's easier for me, but you might have a different part of the emote that you prefer to start with when you do your line art. It'll be good to figure out what you're more comfortable with, so just maybe try starting with a different part for every emote that you do, and then I think you'll notice what your preference is over time. Some kind of butterfly, baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me do my base color, I use the monoline brush. I think the brush size is around 8 to 10 pixels. I like the monoline brush to outline and color fill or color drop because it actually is one of the few brushes where you don't have to worry about gaps in between different sections when you outline to color drop, because sometimes if you're using a different brush it leaves gaps and then you try to do the color drop and your entire canvas gets filled with that color, and then you're trying to figure out where that gap is. But using the monoline brush, it's just a lot easier. I highly recommend if you're doing base colors to use that brush, but if you have another brush that works really well for you, just stick with what you are more comfortable with. You'll notice over time I get faster at doing line art and coloring, and that's normal because you become more comfortable with what you're looking for and what you want in your emote and how you want to outline certain parts. So what's nice about doing emotes in a set is like you just become faster as you get through like 3 or 4 emotes. You'll notice that the line art and coloring process ends up being a lot quicker than it was before. This was a really short tutorial, but I hope you found some tips and tricks here that help you with your emote drawing process, particularly with doing line art and base colors. If you have any questions, drop them down below. The next video in this series will be on highlighting and shading, which will be the last video in this multi-part emote set tutorial video series. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments below if there's anything else I can help you with. Oh, and if you enjoy my videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out and tells me which kind of videos are helpful and which ones aren't, and what I can change up so I can improve the way I share how I draw digitally and on Procreate. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching.